Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Magic Body. Today we're going to talk about something that I absolutely love talking about. But first, we've been talking a lot about the breath and different ways that you can observe your breath. So feeling the way that the ribs are moving with each breath, or the diaphragm, or noticing the details of the breath, the speed of the inhale, the speed of the exhale. And there's even more ways to observe the breath, and I'll share those with you later. But today, what I want to talk about is this idea that when you get to know your breath better, you have access to an ability to sense other people's breathing. And what this does, this is a profoundly powerful tool for empathy. And I wish it was easier to sense people's breathing. It's awkward because you're trying to see and you're staring at their torso, and usually the breath isn't easy to see, and it's not easy to pick up how someone else is breathing. But you can try. And what I do is, since I'm in New York City, I'm on the subway a lot. When I'm sitting next to somebody on the subway, I just try to sense their breathing. And again, you can try studying somebody, but it's also very effective to sense someone else's breathing, especially when it's super awkward to study them. So if you're sitting next to someone and you're just getting a sense of how they're breathing. And one time, I got this idea from the Maisie Dobbs detective series, amazing mystery series about a detective in the early 1900s in London. And she's very intuitive, and she uses her ability to sense others to gauge how they're feeling, and if what's going on, and if they're lying, or what happened, if she's getting close to a revelation with them. And so I imitate people's movement, and I've done that for a long time. And, I'll follow someone and walk the way that they're walking, and that gives me tremendous amount of information. But it wasn't until I read a Maisie Dobbs book where she talked about imitating the breath, where I was like, of course, duh, that's like getting straight to the root of how someone is feeling. So that was super exciting. So one day I was on the subway, and there was this larger man. So it was easier to sense his breathing because he was larger. And I remember getting annoyed because, a lot of times men will sit on the subway with their legs spread apart, and I know it might be difficult for them to bring their legs together, but it sucks for the people who are like squeezed in between two men spreading their legs. So I was just annoyed by that because he was taking up more space than he needed to, and I was trying to sit down. And I didn't say anything. I just squeezed my way in and sat down. And then I decided to start sensing his breath. And again, it was very easy to sense because he was a big man. And I started feeling his breath, and it was something like this. And I realized that this man was totally exhausted. It was like he would inhale, and then on the exhale, he would just give up on the exhale. He'd inhale and then just give up on the exhale. There was such a surrender in the exhale that felt like maybe he had given up, or was just so tired he didn't have energy to care as much, or he just seemed so tired. And when you sense someone's breath, it's not something you could give a very clear verbal description of how they're feeling. You're sensing how they're feeling. And that gave me tremendous empathy for him. He didn't want to adjust his position because I don't really think he was aware of me. I think he was so tired and his body was so tired and it felt so heavy. And breathing felt so difficult that even the exhale just felt like giving up, letting the air just fall out of him. And yeah, it really increased my empathy. So when you're in situations, and it's again, it's not easy, but it's so fun to try to sense someone else's breath, and you become instantly so much more aware of the other person. So I haven't done this that successfully when I'm really upset or in an argument, but the times when it's like a stranger and there's some tense interaction, when I do start to try to sense how they're breathing, it takes me out of my own reaction and helps me to sense what they're going through. And it brings me tremendous empathy. Because, you know, the way that we breathe, it's so intimate and it's so rooted in how we're feeling in that moment that it can just, it's like going straight to the root to understand where someone's at. So I wanted to share that with you using all these tools, you know, seeing how another person's rib cage is moving, or seeing how, you know, where in their rib cage they're breathing, or noticing the tempo of their breath and seeing if you can sense that. The best is to do that like if you're on the subway or you're traveling and you're sitting near someone, or if you can observe someone from afar and just see if you can sense how they're breathing. It's absolutely fascinating. I could do it all day long, and it's profound. So I hope that that idea is something that you can enjoy working with and explore. And that as you increase your awareness of your own breath, you will increase your ability to sense other people's breath. So with that, enjoy this idea. Thank you.